Greetings, sentient beings. This chat is not intended for children. There will likely be strong language and adult themes. So, starting out solo here, I don't have any panel today, and I guess that doesn't really matter because it looks like I don't have any audience right now either. But we'll get going here anyway and see if anybody decides to show up. So, anyway, just kind of wondering how everybody's doing lately. For me, things are actually going pretty decently, all things considered. I guess it's because nobody can go out shopping, but I'm getting a lot more orders from my online business than I usually do. And, with getting the government payment, I'm not really hurting too bad here. As long as I don't get hit with anything unexpected, I'm okay for the next month or two anyway. And got things pretty much stocked up. I'm just trying to make sure that I have enough of all the food and essentials stocked because, unfortunately, the way things are handled. Oh, hey, Robert. Yeah, the way things are being handled, I'm not real hopeful. They're so eager to get the economy started again that I think they're rushing things, and I expect to see the cases shooting up again in a month or so. And, if either Sloth Rural or I have indications that we've been exposed to it, it's going to require both of us to self-isolate for a month and not go out. So, basically trying to make sure I'm prepared for that. Hey, Nerdy. So if anybody wants to jump in, just let me know. I can send you a link on Twitter. Hey, Doc. Okay. So people are filing in now. Everybody just rang a little bit late today, although unusual for me to have gotten started on time, so can't fault anybody on that. What I do have today is a very clingy kitty who seems quite insistent that if I won't move the keyboard off of my lap, he's going to lay on top of it. So if weird things start happening, it's because the kitty keeps trying to press buttons on the keyboard. He's muted my mic twice already. So, kind of closed up the fundraiser for getting Nacha a new hard drive. In the wee hours of the morning, I sent $200 Australian, about $140 US that, we jointly collected for him. So, not quite sure what that's going to translate to for him over there. Also, since we were also giving Nervardia's PayPal out, I don't know if she got any contributions for that either. But Nacha said that, after he gets the hard drive, if there happens to be any money left, he'll be sending it on to Rachel Oates to help her because her computer fried out. So I certainly approve of that. Oh, yeah, and yeah, basically that's where things are at for me now. I'm still working on getting my apartment set up the way I wanted it and building a lot of shelving units and things. which I'm having trouble with just because my sleep schedule is so badly out of whack. That's hard for me to find times when I can be working on projects that will make any amount of noise, because I'm, at this point, rarely getting to sleep actually before like 8 o'clock in the morning. So being up all night, yeah, I can do stuff on the computer and that, but I certainly can't be doing anything with tools because that'd be disturbing the neighbors. So the amount of time I have that I'm awake that I can actually make noise in here is kind of limited, and things aren't progressing all that fast. Nerdy needs a new graphics card. Yeah, 24 gigabytes for your graphics card. I don't have 24 gigabytes memory in my entire computer. Actually, Nerdy, I've often had Dave's Critical Questions playing while I'm laying there trying to sleep, so that's how I've listened to most of those recently. Yeah, unfortunately, nothing's helping me much. It also doesn't help that with where I am now, I can't get in to see a doctor because of the whole lockdown thing, which also means I cannot get my prescriptions refilled now. Not that any of them really helped me sleep, but the one that was at least suppressing the tics from the Tourette's, I can't get refilled. So now, in addition to everything else keeping me awake, when I'm trying to lay there trying to fall asleep, I have all sorts of just random muscle twitches and my foot kicking and things like that. So that's certainly not helping, and not going to get any help for that until I can see a doctor. Okay, Robert, thanks for dropping in. Yeah, Nerdy, I hope you can get what you need. Yeah, speaking of painkillers, that's the other one that, not a severe thing, but just the arthritis, and especially when I'm working with tools, my damaged right hand gets very stiff and sore. So right now I'm making do with ibuprofen, but I am a bit concerned with the number of those I'm having to take every day now. Yeah, as far as I know, Dave, in the US, we can't do refills online. We can refill them by phone through the local pharmacies, but that's the closest we get to it. Also in a transition period with my health insurance, also because of the move, and it's taking, again, with the COVID thing and not many people in the offices to process things, that's taking longer than it normally would. So I'm also, as of the first of the month, without medical insurance. I expect that should get taken care of in the next week or two, but no guarantees. Yeah, the whole US system for that's pretty messed up. So, but like I say, I'm, not complaining too much, because all in all, the system's not that, the situation's not too bad for me. Of course, it might be part of it that with the move, I didn't have time to establish a new routine here yet, so I didn't have a routine to be disrupted. Yeah, Dave, we've got the same thing here, that most of my prescriptions, the doctors can just fax to the pharmacy. But I did have one that was on the list of controlled substances, and that one always had to be a paper script. So that one I've actually been without since the beginning of March when I first moved. But I'm kind of feeling that for all the hassles that came with that one and for the questionable amount of effect it had, if that was even really worth dealing with. Because that one I also couldn't even get from my regular doctor. I had to get that from a specialist. So for me to get that now, I have to first see a doctor who would have to refer me to a specialist who would have to agree to give me the prescription again. So we'll see after I get the medical insurance reinstated. Hey, Robert X. Yeah, I think doctors' offices are about the only ones who use a fax here anymore. Hey, Doorknob. How are things going? So, like I say, if anybody wants to jump in, I'm just kind of here alone rambling. So, synthetic opioids. I guess I don't know which ones would be synthetic as opposed to natural. Tramadol, yeah, I know I've been on that. I don't remember what it was for last time, but some kind of work-related injury. Oh, Doorknobhead, you're not on Twitter? Okay, yeah, mostly I send out the links through Twitter, but I could send you one through email if I knew what your email was. I know these days most people are using Discord, but I have a Discord server, but I really don't understand how to use Discord. And every time I get on there, I just get so overwhelmed with notifications. I don't see how anybody can make sense of it. So yeah, at this point, I can send the links out through Twitter or through emails. That's pretty much what I know how to do. So anyway, today happens to be National Frog Jumping Day, which apparently is in observance of Mark Twain's first published story, The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Cavalier County. And I got that from 3 different sources, none of which can give any explanation of why this is observed on May 13th, but they all have the same date for it. So Why this day, I don't know, but yeah, Samuel Clemens was Mark Twain's birth name. Oh yeah, Dave, if you can send it to Doorknobhead on Discord, that would be good. You know, I trust you. I'm sure you wouldn't be sending it out to anyone who would cause a problem. It's the only reason I don't publish the link publicly is that, yeah, I have had the very rare occasion of having some trollish people come in. Um, I picked up a Christian fundamentalist at one point, so I haven't seen that person around for about a month now, but pet sex toy. Um, I'm not sure. Hello, hello, froggies. How are you doing today? I think you've got your mic muted. I can't hear you. I'm still not getting any sound from you. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, we'll get sorted out. Yeah, you. I'm assuming you just don't have the correct input selected on your computer there or something. Big fish, little fish cardboard box. Yeah, you know, I shaved my beard off for Angie's stream, and it's not coming back in nearly as fast as it used to. I'm still not getting any sound for you. And I don't see anything I can change from this end because, yeah, your mic isn't muted in the stream. And that's about the only thing I can control from here. Okay, do we need to get Neil to do a voiceover? Do all beards sound the same? Is that what you're saying, Dave? Oh, shoot, you sure your mic's plugged in? Okay, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you need to reboot. It's the only thing I can think of. Okay. Well, he's got the link. He'll come back. Yeah, you know, Nerdy, somehow it's always the profit step that I seem to miss. Well, I shouldn't say that. Like I say, right now my Lego hustle is going pretty good, so I am managing to convert a lot of my old stock into cash at this point. Because people are actually buying some of the big sets for a change, the ones that have sat around for a long time. But I guess nobody can go to the stores, and everybody's sitting home with a lot of time on their hands, so they've got time to build the big Lego sets. Oh, hi, Faye. Oh. Yeah, and unfortunately, I missed the big Lego set I wanted. For May the 4th, I had wanted to get a Lego Millennium Falcon, but I couldn't find one anywhere. So, yeah, it'll be on my wish list, but I didn't have one up till now just because it's really hard for me to ever justify spending over $100 on a Lego set. So usually I have to stick to the smaller ones that are like not more than $25, $30. Well, the Lego thing is kind of limited because it's a matter of I can only sell the ones that I've already bought. And I need to be able to buy them cheap enough to make it worthwhile. Which generally it's like after Christmas, like January, February, when they're trying to bring the toy departments back down to their normal size, that I can pick up a bunch of Lego sets at like 50, 75% off. And then I put them in a closet for 2 or 3 years, and then people are willing to pay more than the original price again, so I can sell them for twice what I paid for them. So I had accumulated a lot of old stock that, people are interested in now. Well, Nerdy, you can always come in even if you don't have your camera on. I don't put my camera on too often just because, I don't know, I don't think anybody really needs to see the state of my apartment, and nobody really needs to see, like, how often I cough or have to wipe my nose and BS like that. And for the most part, I don't think there are that many people who'd be interested in looking at me. Yeah, I have to spend a bit more time doing my eBay stuff because I've got a lot of stock for that, of like redundant tools and, project supplies, saw blades and paintbrushes and those kind of things that I could be selling that stuff off. But eBay takes a little bit longer. Bricklink is really quick and easy. My biggest problem with the big Lego sets is trying to find boxes big enough to mail them. So usually I wind up just trying to find huge cardboard boxes and cutting them up and, making custom sized boxes for things. Yeah, but see, Nerdy, you've got talent. You can put things up on the screen that look interesting to people. I don't have any kind of artistic talent, so I can't really give people anything worth looking at. So I don't know. I suppose I should check out, like getting some like looping motion backgrounds or something like that I could use for backgrounds. Also, if I wasn't so tired all the time, and I got a couple of scripts ready for edited videos. I just, when I've tried to record them, I just feel my, with everything, my voice hasn't been sounding real good. So, but I need to record a couple of those, and some are topical, and I have run into the problem of having had scripts ready and I don't get around to doing it in time. And if it's a topical thing and I don't do it on time, then there kind of loses the point to doing it at all. So I've just, nah. I have problems with motivation in general. Actually, what I have are inertia problems. That it takes me a lot to get started on a project, but once I'm working on a project and doing something, I really don't want to stop. And I hate being interrupted, because if I get interrupted, then I've got the whole problem again of getting started again. So, it's like if I'm working on a project, if people will leave me alone, I will work 20 or 30 hours straight without taking a break to do anything more than go to the bathroom and refill my water bottle. That's also how I get into the thing of forgetting to eat for a day or two. Late in space exploration. Yeah, I remember some of the ones you did a while ago of some of your space exploration in your spaceship. Those are pretty cool things, Nerdy. I'd like to see you do more of those. A nerdy a day keeps the boredom away. The same goes for Dave, but it doesn't rhyme. We'll have to come up with a good rhyme. Hello. How are you doing? Are you with us now? Nope, still not hearing anything. You checked your settings for your primary input, your volume controls? I wish I could help you, but I'm not very good with the techie stuff. I can only do the basics. So unless somebody in the side chat has something. Yeah, Dave, I don't know what to say about that, and I don't think I've ever shown my bum online, so I don't think anybody here can comment on that. I wish we could figure out how to get this working so Doorknobhead could talk to us. Recording device and StreamYards is the right one. Like I said, I really wasn't aware I could even pick out the recording device for Anyone else? Yeah, wait a minute, where is it? Yeah, Doorknobhead, if you check StreamYard's on the toolbar on the bottom, check the cam mic settings there and see what it says under audio there about, what it says for the microphone or for the audio input there.
How about now?
Oh, there we go. Now I hear you.
Okay, I switched audio mic to internal microphone from line in.
Okay, now you're actually kind of loud.
Oh.
But at least we're hearing you, so we can have a conversation here.
It's still loud?
Yeah, that's okay. So how's it going where you are?
Okay. I don't know why I've had some problems lately with the microphone thing. That's the second time I had to change it. I had to change it on Linda's channel. Actually, I think what happened on Linda's channel, she had to change the setting. I was doing all these things and then she had to change something, I think.
Yep. I just realized I had mine set for the wrong speakers here too. I hope I wasn't causing an echo there.
I hear nothing at the moment. No echoes. I was wondering because I had to do a Skype doctor appointment. Well, they said Skype originally, and I was messing with Skype, and then they said no, it needs to be another application, Zoom, not Zoom. Anyway, they had me try to load that, and so anyway, I thought it with all this stuff, I thought maybe I messed up settings.
Yep. Okay, well we got straightened out now.
Yeah.
So, what have you been doing? Have you been stuck at home or?
No, I've been working the whole time. I haven't had a day off. They just, was it last week? They finally gave us masks. Well, my mask's over there. And
what kind of work is it you do?
Work in a clean room, like a silicon wafer fab.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so this
electronics assembly.
Yeah, it's like circuits and stuff. Yeah, this big old beard, and then I got to stuff it into. So I put on a mask. See, I put on a head thing. It's supposed to cover my hair, and I got to tuck all of my hair in.
Uh-huh.
And then I have the masks are kind of small, so I put one on, and I have to translate it to the left. And I put on another mask, translate it to the right, and I have to stuff everything in there. And I have to put a veil over. And now with the coronavirus stuff, then I got to take the coronavirus mask and put that on too.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you get that whole beard up under the mask. That just
it takes a while. It's kind of silly, but
yeah, I've had to deal with long hair, but my beard was never that extreme.
Yeah, I've had it. Yeah, I guess it's pretty close to the belly button again. I've had it down there before, but yeah. So that's how that happened. So Samuel Clemens.
How do you deal with that? Is mine before it gets anywhere near that bush, it gets hard to eat. It just gets in the way trying to put food in my mouth.
Absolutely. I eat my beard every once in a while. I get like the hair in my teeth and stuff. I got to pull it out. And, yeah, it's a problem. And like eating certain foods, like if you want to like eat something with syrup or anything messy like that, that'll just dribble down your face.
Yep.
Oh, and also with my mask they gave us, they're white. And so I drink coffee at my desk, and I'll drink coffee, and I'll have coffee stains. Sometimes they go all the way through, but either that or at least I know which side to put the mask back on because it's got the coffee stains on the side. So, yeah, it can be a mess. Yeah, actually, in my coffee cup, I ended up. So you got the coffee cup, and normally with a beard, I'll drink, and it'll like drip all the way down to the side, the coffee stains, and it looks like messy. But now I put like a little rubber band kind of just right below the lip. And now it doesn't drip all the way down. So all kinds of challenges with beard. And also it'll get stuck in doors and things. Or like where my hair will get stuck in the back of my neck and it's like, you gotta pull it and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I've had some of that just with the long hair that power windows on a car have been dangerous. Because it's like I'll get my hair blowing out the window of the car, so I roll up the window and then it's like I can't tip my head to the side.
Yeah. Like, was it Rumpelstiltskin? Is that the guy? Who was the guy with the long beard that tripped on it? Or maybe I'm thinking of
Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle. There you go.
Yeah.
But I think there was Ripley's Believe It or Not. Some guy tripped on his beard and killed himself or something. They have a story about that. But yeah.
Yeah, Ripley's Believe It or Not, he had the greatest scam going.
Was that a scam?
Well, he never claimed anything he printed was true. He just said, believe it or not. So he never had to verify anything. He never had to back anything up.
Good point. Believe it or not. So what have you been doing today? You're just kind of bored, so you came on?
Well, no, this is my normal weekly thing, but...
Oh, okay.
So
trying to draw on flies then, okay.
Well, for me, my sleep schedule, well, I never really have a sleep schedule and just all screwed up, so... I actually still haven't managed to get to sleep from last night.
Oh.
I laid down for about 4 or 5 hours, but I never fell asleep.
Yeah, that's true. They say all you need is rest, though. Close your eyes and rest.
Well, it helps, and I do some, like, meditation, a kind of self-hypnosis exercise, because sometimes that's as close as I'm going to get.
How long have you had sleep problems for?
Yeah, pretty much my whole life.
Yeah, I have sometimes maybe if I have sleep problems, if I start exercising, then I can get it to go away. But I remember it's funny. The first time I had sleep problems is the going through the existential crisis as a kid, because I was never religious. So, but at one point it wasn't really about God or anything. It was about more like, how is it possible that the universe can end anywhere, but how can it stop? You know, things like that. And then I guess afterlife too is like, how bad is it to, like, you know, be dead for infinity of time? That's terrible, you know, because you think of the loneliness and stuff. Yeah. But then at one point it's like, oh, it's just like I discovered this on my own before I heard any of these people talk about, oh, it's just like being, you know, like before you were born. It's just like that. Then it was like, yep. Oh, that's easy.
Well, you know, the universe thing is one that I've always addressed from a scientific standpoint more than a religious one, that how can they talk about the shape of the universe? Because if there's anything beyond that edge, isn't that still part of the universe?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I suppose on a more realistic level, yeah, it's a matter of, you know, space-time as we know it ceases to exist beyond a point, so it's not anything we can really comprehend.
Maybe, and plus we only have an observable universe, right? We haven't seen beyond that yet, so
yep.
We might have a point.
Hi, Julie. So, got plenty of space if anybody wants to jump in. But yeah, I went through a lot of interesting things on that especially through all the years that I was pagan, of trying to find a way to, you know, reconcile things with the, you know, magic and such with the observable universe. And I actually spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out some theories on if it could work if we actually had a universe that's at like 10 or 12 dimensions, that we're only seeing 4 of it.
Well, they say 11 dimensions is... I've seen a thing about that where they went through every dimension and what that would be like, might be like.
I know in Stargate they claimed it was 11 dimensions. I wasn't quite sure if they were pulling that from anything.
It seems like I saw something on that. Some people say there's more, but I read one where there's some mathematicians that have gone to like 5th dimension and kind of describe that, and kind of show it visually. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, you know, I can see that, at least in the theoretical sense, that Yeah, there could be other dimensions that we're just not able to sense, but I understand, not really comprehensively, but I understand kind of the basics of some of the string theory ideas and that
Uh-huh.
it may actually require more than the dimensions we perceive just
Yeah.
for everything we've observed to actually work the way it does.
Yeah, particles pop out of a different dimension or something.
Yeah.
I always wonder why don't these God people, why don't they always just say, since he's invisible anyway, has no fingerprints on the cosmos, why not just say he's in a different dimension and go that route and bullshit that way? I don't
I
know why
have
they
heard that claim.
have you. I don't know why they don't do that more. I mean, he used to live on top of a mountain, and then all the mountains got conquered. Now, all this other stuff. And he's in the clouds, but then the airplanes are up there, and then he's in space, but then we got these telescopes and space shuttles, and just hide him in another dimension now.
Well, I'm an apathist. I don't care if God exists. I am willing to completely skip over the whole argument about whether or not he exists. And even if I give you that he exists and is exactly how it's described in the Bible, you've still got a shit ton of work to go to convince me that he's worth worshiping.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the definition of this word is, ichthyist, but for me, I've been using it as I'm just going to laugh at you guys and think you're all absurd until there's like one piece of evidence in science books that the whole world can agree on, and then maybe I'll, even think about taking you guys seriously.
Okay, what exactly is an ichthyist? Because to me that sounds like someone who believes in fish.
Yeah, let's go with that then. Let's go with fish. It's all about the fish.
Isn't that, ichthyology is the study of fish?
I'll go with that. Yeah, I guess it's a precursor. What's of like other words like ignoramus, or that's all, what came up, or ignorant, or I can't remember. I've seen one definition. It's not a very. I don't think it's a well defined word, if it's defined at all. But
well, I've seen a couple of people using the term, but I wasn't clear on what they mean by it.
Yeah, me either. I don't think anybody is clear about what it means yet. I don't think I've seen it in the standard encyclopedia of philosophy or anything. I think I had to go pretty far upfield to find a sample definition of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I just need a different word is all, so I'm just trying to find one. So.
Well, you can go with epistivist.
I'm not that pissed about it though. You have to. Yeah, I always forget the definition of these words.
Well, epistivist is just without faith.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes they talk about the. Just lost that train of thought. Off that track. That was quick. Okay. That didn't work. I abort that.
I don't know. I guess I'm pretty much without everything, so.
Yeah.
I won't claim a lot of knowledge on the subject. I have no faith. I have no belief.
Yeah.
Part of my problem is my family is really good at denial. So there's shit that I've got pictures of that they'll still claim never happened.
Can you give an example? An example?
No, just things from my childhood. Just yeah, it would be hard without actually being able to show the pictures. I don't have them in my computer.
Right.
Because back when I was a kid, cameras actually had film that you had to drop off at the drugstore and wait for a week.
What? There was that Robin Williams movie about that, where he's kind of checking out because they have to look at your photos. Photo. Yeah, 1 hour photo. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty creepy in that one.
Yeah, but that's a good point though. Is people had to, when they developed them, they had to look at your photos.
Yeah.
Purely automated machines or something, but sure those came at the very end.
Yeah, I think the automated machines, tended to come out like in the late 70s and the 80s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up until that, there really was somebody who was actually looking at them, at least to put them in the envelopes and everything.
Yeah. Imagine all the crazy pictures. A lot of thumbs for one thing. But yeah, there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I've had heard some interesting stories and from different people who had developed them, what they were supposed to do if people sent them X-rated pictures and what they actually did with them.
I've seen some from other people. I've seen X-rated type pictures, and I never thought about it at the time. But then that 1 hour photo thing, somebody saw those pictures.
Well, I'm sure that was one of the reasons Polaroid cameras were so popular, was you didn't have to have anyone else seeing the pictures.
Yeah, I had a Polaroid for a while. Big old bulky thing.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool. When I was in the military, I had one of those because at my house, I have a picture up from the Polaroid when I was in the military.
Yeah, I used to have those because, back when I was getting started doing the handyman work, just doing job estimating, I was using those a lot.
How's the job market for you right now?
Well, after the move, I need to build a customer base, so haven't been able to do that here, and so haven't really had any work on my normal line, and I've just had to be, doing what had been my side hustles of selling stuff online has become, my main income now.
Okay.
But since nobody can go shopping, I'm getting a lot more orders from that than I normally would, so I'm doing okay. I'm, at least for the next month or two, I'm not worried about things.
Now you made me think about the 40-year-old virgin where that lady has a shop where she sells stuff.
I never saw that one.
Oh yeah, I think there's a lady. She has like a shop where she sells. I think she sells stuff on the seashore. No, on eBay, and some guy comes in and says, "Why do you have a shop? You're selling on eBay." I think that's right, but I might be wrong. I'm often wrong, so someone can correct me. But anyway, so you buy and resell things, or you just find things at markets, garage
Yeah,
sales, and
well,
resell things?
some of it's like, sometimes find like old toys at thrift stores and that, but mostly it's been the Legos and.
Oh, okay. That's right. You got a boatload of Legos, didn't you?
Yeah, that's, most of that stuff that's like, I buy it when it's on clearance and then I put it away for a while and then I can sell it at a good markup. Basically you just kind of wait for the stock to evaporate and then people are looking for a particular set that's no longer produced.
Oh, really?
And there's
Lego
a site.
World.
Well, there's a site called Bricklink that all it is, they sell nothing but Legos, but it's not like one store. It's, like 1,000 independent sellers who each have stores there. So I've got my little store there and they pretty much do all the work for it. It's really pretty easy for me on that. Like for selling sets, it's like I just, punch in the set number and how many I have and how much I'm willing to sell it for. And
Wow.
then it just sits there until somebody wants to order it.
There you go. I was never a Lego guy. I was more of a Tinker's toy, Lincoln Log, and a rotor set kind of guy. I never got into Legos.
I had all those at different points as a kid.
Yeah, Legos always seemed kind of dull to me or something. Like, sorry, Morton.
Well, they have gotten more interesting over the years as if, gotten more and more different elements.
Yeah. Yeah, they are much fancier than just the basic Legos when I grew up, yeah.
Well, and yeah, I remember, when I was a kid in the 70s, it's like they had like 4 or 5 colors. And I've lost track now, but at last count, they had 85 colors.
There were that many colors?
There's 5 different colors of gray alone. And you've got to keep them straight selling them because, if people will get really upset if you sent them the wrong gray.
Oh, no. Connoisseurs of Lego.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, everything that's got a fan base, you're going to get some people who are kind of obsessive about it.
Yeah, we're not out in the wild struggling for survival, so we got time for that kind of thing. Well, not yet. After this Corona thing, we will be again, but yeah.
Oh, hi, Orla. Yeah. Well, a friend of mine who's autistic has this unique talent with the Lego that you can give him a Lego piece and he can tell you by the mold markings to within a couple of years when that piece was manufactured, and then list off for you all the sets that part appeared in.
Jeez. That's wild.
Just that he's got that entire encyclopedia in his head.
Yeah, I've never been like that. Reminds me of like when growing up in a school and all the kids knew all the stats of all the sports teams and when games were played and the score and who got the runs and just all those stats is just mind-boggling. I guess it'd be good for the hunters of the hunter-gatherer tribes to be able to collect all that information and know which flora and fauna are found where, kind of a thing. Must translate into all this craziness.
Well, and knowing which mushrooms you can eat and which ones will kill you.
And which ones send you to space.
Yeah. Now, see, that's what I missed out on when I was living in Upper Michigan, because like I was doing landscaping, and on the fringe of the forest, I'd find all sorts of mushrooms. And if I'd known how to identify which were the fun ones, I could have gathered up baskets of them.
I worked with a guy.
I didn't know which ones were going to kill me, so I left them all alone.
I worked with a guy that he'd go on forest hunting trips during the season, and he'd collect a bunch of mushrooms and make a lot of money. He also had like a mushroom farm where he grew a bunch of mushrooms. And he knew how to do all that stuff. Yeah, I'd be freaked out by it.
Yeah, well, and if you know what they are, some of the wild mushrooms can be worth hundreds of dollars a pound.
Yep, that's the thing. And they're hard to find, but if you find the facts, then
Well, because there are some of these types of wild ones that they can't cultivate. They can't get them to grow.
It's wild stuff.
Yeah.
So what have you been trying to do to get your handyman, is that what you called it, business up and running?
Yeah, like, well,
put out ads or word of mouth or
well, generally it's the kind of thing that I really only need to like get a half dozen customers, and then through word of mouth it's usually enough to keep me busy.
Oh yeah. And you said handyman, is that how you said it? Yeah,
I do all sorts of home repairs. I can basically fix anything in the house. The only thing I don't deal with is the heating and air conditioning system.
High-vac stuff, yeah.
And that really has more to do with it requires a whole set of specialized tools that I don't have. Other than that, if you give me all the materials and a couple of helpers, I can build a house from the ground up.
You ever built a house from the ground up before?
Well, not a complete house, but I've, done some outbuildings.
Okay. Yeah, there was a guy when I was in the service, that's what he would do. He'd build a house and sell it. And then he'd build a bigger house and sell that. And that's kind of how he did stuff.
It's something I've always wanted to do, but I've, never really had enough money to buy my own land and get something started. I could do it for like half the price anybody else could, just because I could do most of the skilled labor myself. So I wouldn't have to be paying a carpenter or plumber or electrician.
Where did you learn all your skills from?
Well, my father was a carpenter, so
Okay.
mostly it was just kind of through that. And yeah, I never really had anybody teach me most of the stuff. It was kind of hanging
Okay.
out on the job sites and watching people, and the rest of it was just figuring it out from books.
Nowadays you got the internet too. You can watch This Old House or whatever. I did that.
Yep.
I did that with siding on my house. As I tore off, I had water leaking through a window in my bedroom, and yeah, so I replaced the siding there. Used it's been fine since. That's not. Yeah, but it's like that. Oh, you're one of those guys that think you can just see something on the internet and do it, right? Yeah, I tried it. It seemed to work until all the boards go fring.
Nerdy
Fring.
thinks I've got an extortion racket.
Oh, do you?
No, that's just what Nerdy's saying.
Go with it. Just go with it. What do you extort? Who are you extorting? Nerdy? Where'd he get that from? Goes around to different houses and says things like, "Nice house you got there. Shame if anything happened to it."
No, I don't have to do that. Things break down all the time, so.
Yeah.
And
What's your main kind of work? You think?
Whatever people want. I do a bit of everything. Some of it I'm not supposed to do, like particularly the electrical, because I haven't been licensed for that in over a decade.
Yeah.
But if it's just small stuff like adding an extra outlet, or that's not that big a deal.
Yeah. So like more drywall or carpentry or.
Yeah, a lot of carpentry and drywall, and hang a door, replace a toilet. Like I said, just whatever anybody needs. And actually, a good niche I found for myself was just letting people know that I'm not going to be judging alternative lifestyles. So, people don't have to worry about hiding their stuff because they have to have somebody coming in to fix something.
So you work on a lot of sex dungeons, is what you're saying?
Actually, I have been commissioned to design and build dungeon equipment in the past.
What kind of equipment? Like a rack or something? What's in a dungeon?
One was a stretching table.
Okay.
The St. Andrew's Cross is a fairly popular one.
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
It's
basically a huge wooden X for tying somebody onto.
Oh, that's nice.
And various restraints and shackles and
nice
stockades.
What do you call that one? Stockades?
Stockades.
Oh, stockades. Okay.
Yeah. So, and it's not necessarily just that people want that kind of stuff built, but just, if they're having a problem with their plumbing or that, they, having anybody come into the house and just even seeing what they got on their bookshelf and that sometimes can be problems for people.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
so
that.
It's like, I don't care if you're gay or pagan or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect my life any.
Gaydon or pay.
And that's, while I was living in New York, that was pretty much, what set me up was that the first job I did was for a couple of lesbians and they told other people that were in the, artsy community there, and that pretty much kept me working for 10 years there.
Nice. It's good to be flexible.
Yeah. So that's the thing, like I say, it's just like I put some business cards on bulletin boards and stuff like that, and, ran some ads on Craigslist, and, I just need to do a couple of good jobs, and, people pass the word around. But right now, of course, nobody wants a stranger coming into their house at all.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, huh? Yeah.
Most people aren't even having their own friends come into their houses, so that's all kind of on hold now,
Yeah.
which is just as well, because the way I've been sleeping lately, I can't really schedule jobs. I'm having enough trouble just getting my own stuff built because I'm not awake at a time when I can be running the tools.
Yeah. Yeah, my house, I have a grinder. I do some metal work and welding and metal work and stuff. Yeah, it's like can't do it all night. Even though you'd like to. But,
Yeah, Julie, I don't know where you are, if that's someplace I could drive to.
so you said you were doing work for yourself too, right now?
Well, I'm just, because I've got the new apartment,
Mm-hmm.
all the shelving in that I had was specifically built for my old apartment.
Okay.
And I just dismantled everything, just knocked it to the flat boards, and so now I'm having to rebuild everything for the space here and design it all.
Okay.
And basically, the longest wall of the living room here, I'm just building a set of shelving to fill the complete wall. And I've got a desk here already that I built, so I'm really not buying any furniture. I'm pretty much building everything. The only thing I bought that was actually ready to use in any way was a chair. I had to get a new desk chair because one of them just wasn't in a condition to be worth bringing with.
So life is still it's all dandy. You've moved out of that one horse town and you're all still happy and giggly all about that. Being
Oh
out of
yeah,
there.
it's definitely much better here. And and even this apartment is actually only like 40 square feet bigger than my old one,
Mm-hmm.
but it's laid out so much better. It feels a lot bigger.
Oh, nice. Plus you only have one chair in there. And a bunch of boxes.
Well, actually, even now, it's like I've got my recliner pulled up to the desk because I just kind of lounge back with the keyboard in my lap most of the time.
Nice.
Well, I don't even sit like normal people do. Sitting in a chair with my feet on the floor seems to strain my back.
Mm.
I'm always a lot more comfortable just sitting with my legs folded.
Yeah, I stay reclined in the I do all my stuff here in the bedroom here.
Yeah, well, that's a joke about having the footrest on the recliner up, is that's Sammyson's porch. So he can just lay on the end of it since I rarely stretch my legs out.
Samison is your cat?
Yeah.
Samison.
Sammy-san.
Sammy-san. Okay. Honorable Sam.
Yep.
Okay.
It was actually Samson when I got him from the shelter, but
Okay.
so I felt I need to change it, but I need to keep it to something that he was likely to recognize anyway. He seems to like the new place too. In fact, he seems to really love the bathroom here. It's got that mosaic tile that's just a little bit rough, and he loves rolling around in there.
Oh.
But I mean, just the way he goes at it, he looks so happy. I think it must be bringing back some memories of whoever he lived with before I found him. Because he gets like a kitten in there.
Well, plus the towel might be kind of cool, right? Is it hot where you're at?
No,
warm? Not warm.
No, actually, it's been pretty chilly here lately. We've been dropping down below freezing every night, and not too much above it during the day.
Oh, geez.
I mean, it had gotten warmer for about a week, and then it dropped again.
Yeah.
Oh, Angry Bird.
Yeah, they used to like make noise when you threw them. They go whoo whoo whoo, whatever their noises were.
Hmm.
But there's no way to replace the batteries or anything. I guess you gotta cut it open and replace the battery or something.
Yeah, with the stuffed ones, that's usually the case. You usually have to find where the noise box is and pop a seam to get it out. That's
Okay.
something else I've had to do a number of times. So I also sew. That's, a lot of guys claim that they're a jack of all trades, but
Oh,
I'm one of the few who could replace the windows and go on to sew the curtains.
the dog bit the nose hole. Just something came out of the nose.
Ah,
And I think I know. I thought I saw something on the bed today, and I thought, oh, well, this looks like a battery or something. I think I know where it came from. Out of the nose. I don't see any wires right there, though. I don't know what that is.
well, usually they, just a little plastic box there that's got all the controls in it.
Yeah, I feel a plastic box inside
Yeah.
moving around.
Yeah, I had one that I had to do just a year ago. I've got a little stuffed triceratops, that when you squeezed him, he growls. And that was a gift from one of my girls about 10 years ago when I was sick. She found that for me.
Oh, when you're sick.
Yeah,
Triceratops.
so I had to pop the seam and get the sound box out of him to replace the battery because, yeah, after 10 years, the battery was finally worn out.
So you've always had an affinity for Triceratops?
Yeah, they've always been my favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
Well, see, actually, it's a past life regression. I'm reincarnated from a Torosaurus that lived in Montana 67 million years ago.
Oh, well, there you go. Explains that. Maybe you had a Triceratops friend or something.
Well, the herds would move together, but yeah.
Okay.
That was one of the pagan things when people would tell me that I had an old soul.
So, what kind of pagan events did you do? What kind of activities do they have in the pagan community that you participated in?
Well, there actually is an annual thing called Pagan Pride,
Oh, awesome.
which is an event that they have festivals for it in, I don't know how many dozens of different cities around the world, actually.
Hmm.
Several dozen in the US alone, but I also know that there are some in Europe and Australia as well.
So you had one local by you then?
Yeah, well, when I was living in Minnesota here, they had them, and in Syracuse, New York, they had them as well. Actually, the ones in Minneapolis, I helped with organizing them the first couple of years they were doing it here,
Oh,
which started. I want to say it was '97. I think was the first one.
yeah. How'd you get involved in that?
Well, it was just from being involved in the local community and
Okay.
the computer BBSs before everybody had the internet.
Yeah.
That somebody had posted a message on there that they were wanting to get one started, and
Yeah.
so
I had a BBS called the Symposium. And Neil, the 604 atheist, said he might have actually been on it at one point, but it was just a tiny little thing.
yeah, they didn't have as far a reach, so most of them tended to be still people within a fairly close area.
Local calls, yeah.
But there were some networks like the WW4 boards, that those would sometime during the night, the boards would link together and trade messages. So then you'd wind up, talking to people in other states. But yeah, it wasn't this kind of interactive thing. It was, more like email servers just trading messages, and the next day you'd have a whole bunch of new messages there when you logged in.
Yeah, my mom worked at the well, both my mom and dad worked at the college, so internet back then you could get a free account through the college. So I kind of did that.
Yep.
The IRCs and the um, whatever the real super fast downloads were. What was that called? I forget what those were called.
Yeah, well, that's when I started high school back in '78. Our school district had 3 high schools, and there was only one computer that was shared among all the schools. And that was something that I figured out is had a hell of a time with my guidance counselor, could never get what I wanted from him. One of the things was every semester I signed up for typing and he kept taking it off my schedule. He said, "What does a boy need typing for? That's a girls' class for secretaries.
Oh, nice.
If I ever find this man, I will strangle him with a computer cord." But I figured out I wasn't going to get anywhere with him, but I could get into the office when nobody was paying attention and type things onto what was a teletype terminal that interfaced with the computer. So I went in and I started entering my own schedule changes, and once it was in the computer, nobody would argue with it. It's like the computer was this infallible authority that nobody would ever question.
Yeah, we had a really large touch typing classroom with all kinds of machines. I got pretty quick too. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, was it C programming language? It seems like I typed I don't know what did I have a book of it or something? It seems like I typed every page of all the functions and stuff into the computer just so I could have easier access to it or something. I just do things like that, just type silly stuff like that. And I was pretty fast in the military. I was like the Radar O'Reilly of the battalion.
Yeah, my typing speed never got that great, and
you'd hear the space bar be thunk 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 thunk. It sounded like Morse code and stuff. It was pretty fast, heavy-handed and pretty fast. Made some errors, but didn't matter at that point.
Yeah, well, that's when I was a kid that I started typing on my mom's old manual typewriter. We got her, her first electric typewriter. All of us pitched in together to get her for Christmas when I was like 8 years old.
I'm remembering the smell of those machines. The little ball that spins around real fast and type.
Oh, no, this was one's way before the ball. They still had the separate arms like the manual ones did, but they had an electric motor, so you didn't have to hit the keys quite as hard.
Yeah, we had one that was not manual, like an antique one that was in the attic. That was kind of fun. Yeah, you got to push it with a lot of pressure too to get it go down. You can make it. You can make a soft character. You can make a hard character. Kind of funny.
Yeah, and what an innovation it was when they had the correction ribbons that you could actually
that's right.
Go back and white out a character.
That's right. Yeah. Fancy stuff.
Yeah.
High technology.
It is really astounding when you think of, when I realize how much the technology has evolved just in my own lifetime.
Well, the technology, like you were talking about, that guy said, typing, that's for ladies.
Yep.
Kind of a thing. Yeah, a lot of that's changed too.
Well, in 1982, when I had a Commodore 64, everybody laughed at me when I said that by the time my kids are grown, computers will be as common as TV sets. Nobody took me seriously.
Was that the Liza? Was that the first? One of those first ones? Is that what it was called? Big old blocky thing.
Yeah, that was one.
One of the first window ones, right? They had like a desktop where you could actually move icons around and stuff.
Something like that. I don't really remember that one very well. Well, you know, I mean the DOS machines were still pretty expensive, so I couldn't get into that. I mean, when I got my Commodore 64, those were selling for $600, and that was a huge breakthrough because it was the first actual computer you could buy for under $1,000.
Yeah, my first one was Atari 400. Then I had Atari 800, and then I had STs, and then I had Amiga. I kind of went that way.
Yeah, I had one of the Atari 520 STs.
Got a 1040 and 520. Probably had I think I had 3 of those.
Yeah. Actually, my 520 ST is still functional. It's used once a year for the Con of the North convention. It's one of the computers running the MIDI maze network. That, you know, just for one weekend a year, this guy sets up, you know, 16 antique Atari computers just to run this MIDI maze game, which is basically, it's kind of like Pac-Man, except that you're seeing it from his viewpoint, that you're just this ball inside the maze, but you also have weapons. So you're running around shooting all the other balls.
There you go. Bad balls, what you gonna do?
Oh, hey, Faye. How's it going for you?
Okay, how are you?
Oh.
I'm doing pretty good.
What's with the frogs everywhere thing?
Today is National Frog Hopping Day.
I can't
Duh.
hop.
Which is, yeah, apparently it's in recognition of Mark Twain's first published story.
Of something county?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
the celebrated jumping frog of Cavalier County.
Okay.
And I found 3 sites that mentioned that this was Frog Hopping Day and mentioned the tie to Mark Twain, although none of them could explain why this is observed on May 13th. It just is. It's not his birthday. It's not the day he died. It doesn't seem to be the day the story was published or anything. It just seems to be a random day they picked for it. But I love Mark Twain, so I'll take any excuse for it.
Yeah, I know I've read. I can't remember what happens in that story, but I know I've read it. It's not very long.
No.
No, it's very short and it's sweet.
Yeah. It paints a good picture. He painted a really good picture. Gives you a nice feeling.
Yeah, even though he said eat a live frog first thing every morning and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of the day. That is the Mark Twain quote.
Frog.
Yeah, except for
he was very shirty and funny and
was that word shirty?
Shirty, yeah. Oh, yeah, today is the day that Mark Twain published his first short story. Today is the day he published
it on the state. Okay.
Later he changed the name and published it as The Celebrated Jumping Frog. But today is the day.
Okay. Yeah, apparently it was published under 3 different titles.
Well, yeah. But he's funny and we love him.
Yep.
So.
And he was quite a philosopher in his own right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, with a small p.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me too. I don't understand most of the formal philosophy in that, but
I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I think people take it to
yeah,
mean things that it doesn't mean, and they associate a dogma with it, and which is absolute ass gravy.
I'm only interested in it as far as it has some, some kind of practical applications or offers some kind of guidance in life.
I think the best guidance in life that a person can have, and feel free to disagree with me, is not just accepting what other people tell you.
Yep.
For the right or the wrong of it.
Well, all the kids I raised, I taught them it is vital to question all authority, which made me immensely popular with their teachers, I'll tell you.
I used to argue with my teachers.
Well, in the whole time I was raising kids, I only actually had one teacher who thought this was a good thing, so.
Yesterday, scientist Mel, I'm gonna send it to you via Twitter. So you can, oh, I'm on the wrong machine. Hold on. My back hurts.
Howie.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I have a long-term back injury that rears its ugly head like once every 5 years or so.
Oh.
It's a playground injury that just repeats and repeats and repeats. So okay, I'm gonna send you the thing, and it's really cute. Basically the question is, if kinetic energy is converted into thermal energy, how hard do I have to slap a chicken to cook it?
I
Did
saw
anyone see that?
last night, yeah.
Wasn't that adorable? And of course someone answered it and stuff like that, but it's like, I love that question.
Is the answer till it's done?
No.
No, he had
But
an
it
actual
should,
answer that had numbers involved in it. The
which is
actual conversion rate.
hysterical.
Yeah.
Which is hysterical. I loved it.
I know if I slap my chicken, it'd get done pretty quick.
I see what you did. Oh.
Is this too loud?
No.
Nope. You're fine.
Am I too loud?
Nope. I
Graham
think
cracker.
everybody's about the same.
Okay. So how's everyone doing?
Surviving. Still breathing.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I didn't really get a chance to establish a routine after I moved, so I didn't really have a routine to disrupt.
I've been pretty out of sorts because I have OCD and none of my patterns have held up during this. Not my food patterns, not in any pattern, and I'm pretty much a complete mess right now.
Well, see,
You're like a cat.
Hmm?
You're like a cat. Things
Yeah,
change
yeah.
around you, it messes you up. Yeah.
Change my
usually have-
furniture, you messed me up.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I usually have a problem because I don't understand a lot of the social norms. But in the current situation, most of those are out the window, so most people don't understand how to deal with anything socially now. So, it's kind of brought everybody down to my level.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
and
writing a
anything
book.
that disrupts the social norms generally works as an advantage to me because it's like I didn't get them in the first place.
Mm. Oh, Doorknobhead, if you don't want to answer, just tell me you don't want to answer. But how are you feeling after your trip to the ER?
Super duper.
Oh,
Yeah.
Super and duper.
I didn't know you'd been to the ER. What was that about?
I had a kidney stone. Yeah, it was silly. So it was like 10 o'clock. I woke up and it was like I had the, I'm dying kind of a thing, pain. And then I had a kidney stone before, so I was going, what if it's just a kidney stone? But then I started doing like dry heaves and stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I should go to the.
Yeah.
And also going on the internet, kind of researching stuff and saying, oh, if this part of your area is affected, it might be this, and if this bursts, then you're doomed. So, okay, maybe as a precaution, I should go to the emergency room. And
My
Maybe you should go anyway. And they gave you a pea strainer? Did you catch the stone yet?
yeah, I caught it that same day.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, it was funny. I went there and I was in pain, and they gave me fentanyl, and it didn't do nothing for me. And then they said, "Oh, if it still hurts in a while."
You're gonna have to repeat yourself.
I think he froze there. I think he may have lost his connection.
That's a shame because I wanted to know about the kidney stone.
Yeah, but his picture's not moving anymore. Yeah, it's my ex passed a kidney stone the size of a grain of rice. And after that, she said that it was a myth that men could not feel a pain as intense as childbirth.
I've heard it's worse than childbirth, but I've had kidney stones once. But I process pain a little weirdly. So
okay. I think he's back with us.
Oh, good.
You kind of got cut off.
I dropped out. I'm at a weird zone here where if I. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you froze there, and we didn't quite get the end of what you were saying.
Mm-hmm. You were telling us how you passed the kidney stone that day, but they recommended fentanyl. It didn't really do anything for you, and then
it didn't do nothing. Then a non-opioid they gave me, and that was fine. And then I had no pain after that.
Okay, and everything's all right now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you've got a doctor's appointment to go talk about your kidney stone?
Nope. I had a. It was supposed to be a Skype call. So first they said Skype.
Right.
And then they said, no, it's going to be Zoom. And then I couldn't install Zoom because I don't have an iPhone. And then we went old school. He called me on the phone. And then we talked about it. So that was my appointment. So we talked through it. He said a 98% chance it's like calcium buildup.
Possibly.
Because I passed it and they can do an analysis of it, but it's like, it's 98% chance of that. It's that. So I'm good enough with those odds.
Are you going to mail them the kidney stone?
I'm going to make a necklace. No, I decided not to do that.
Okay. So. Yeah, well, I can't imagine anything like the day I went in for mine.
Kind of hurts, don't it?
It wasn't that bad for me.
Oh, it wasn't?
I don't register pain the way other people do, so when something actually hurts me, it's really hurting.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I tore a toe off and it didn't bother me.
You funny. Tore a toe off and it didn't hurt. You're one. That's a wonder.
It didn't hurt at all.
I can't see how that.
It didn't hurt until the next day. I mean, it bothers me more now than it did when I tore it off. So
there.
Yeah.
Deal with that.
Probably means my body is pretty good at mitigating.
Suppressing pain, yeah.
Yeah.
You could get stabbed with a spear in the side, and you stab the guy back and feel it later.
Yeah.
Feel it the next day. Yeah.
Well, mine doesn't put off for that long, but yeah, it's like when things are actually happening, I don't feel the pain right away. It's after I get a chance to sit down that it starts kicking in. So I at least have enough time to bandage it.
I was 7 hours in the emergency room just sitting there being waiting to be looked at. Didn't hurt.
I got
Yeah.
a bunch of toys. You see the toys in my yard here? All these toys.
Where are they from?
That's the schoolyard. They're doing some kind of work there. I think they had some pipe bursts, and I think they're replacing some pipes.
Oh.
And plus, they made a big trench and they filled it with like 4 feet of gravel. So, don't know if that's going to be a road. Maybe they're going to put up buildings later. I don't know. They had one shovel out here at one point. I go, oh, so that's for burying the body is when they start stacking up too high. Because I saw they were doing that in New York or something. They were like temporarily burying bodies
Yeah.
in trenches.
I heard about that.
That's common in disaster situations. Because it's colder under the ground, and
Oh yeah, sorry.
et cetera, et cetera. So it's not disrespectful at all.
What do you mean by that?
What do you
Do you-
mean?
Do you mean it's not disrespectful, or are you being sarcastic?
No, I mean it's not disrespectful.
Okay. You say so. I don't know how that stuff works. That one's moving.
Well, I watch a YouTube channel called Ask a Mortician,
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
and this is
good.
not the first time that she's talked about how they deal with a large amount of death in an area, and how temporary burials are used in order to like protect the dead. So it is a way of protecting the dead, because it's not to protect the living, because a dead body, you know, like everything that's growing in it pretty much stops.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, the enzymes that are used to break it down, but you want to slow that process down. So they have a whole thing. But that's probably too morbid right now.
Reminds me of the old Dark Ages, bring out the dead kind of stuff.
Yeah, which
Bring
is
out your dead.
definitely my usual sense of humor, but with people on my timeline constantly announcing the event of a death of a loved one, I feel like I need to tone down the death humor.
Yeah, I know how that is. Yeah. Well, I try
I
to know
mean,
how that is. Yeah.
at an uncle's funeral, we sat there and cracked jokes and made death jokes and all kinds of things, because, well, he's the type of person who would do that stuff anyway. But I'm trying to be more sensitive of people's feelings, because I don't want to torture anyone who's going through a hard time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you might be able to take it, but they might not be able to.
Right.
My brother died like within about a year and a half ago, and he was cracking jokes. He came back from the hospice and stuff to finally die, and yeah, he was just cracking jokes about it. It was glorious.
He sounds like a wonderful human being.
No, he was a terrible human being, but he was
Oh no.
he was funny.
Yeah. That's the way I want it to be when I go. I don't want, one of these depressing funerals.
Yeah.
I want people cracking jokes.
I want people to dance, because I can't dance anymore. I want people to dance. I want my death to be celebrated.
Yeah.
I want you to play Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. I want you to like have fun. Like, why not? Why not? I mean, I'm terrified of COVID, to tell you the truth.
Are you?
Yeah, because it sounds like a very painful way to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it does get me, celebrate me. Celebrate my death. Be like, yeah, she's gone. Yes.
I'm wondering.
Hospital instructions that for my funeral she needs to hire a ventriloquist, so when people come up to view the body, I can talk back to them.
Oh no, that's wonderful. I love that idea. but
And
I
so-
don't want a viewing.
I don't either, but I'm sure my family will insist on it, so we got to find some way to screw with them.
My lady friend, she died about 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and she did a cool thing where she donated her body to science, and they just took her body and they just chopped it up. They had the medical people work on it, and then they cremated her and threw her ashes in the ocean. It's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
Well, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, once I'm done with it, I mean, take any parts that are usable, and yeah, if you want to use the rest for, students practicing or whatever, go ahead.
I really don't care. I mean, you could take my corpse to death row and let them have fun with it. I don't give a shit.
What's that, weekend at Bernie's? Can we work weekend at Wonders?
Guys? Yeah, why not?
That'd be fun.
Oh, Orla, it's okay. I won't crack jokes at your funeral.
Well,
I
personally,
won't
I
crack
don't.
jokes at your funeral, Orla. It's all right.
Personally, I do not intend on attending my funeral.
Not gonna have one.
Not gonna be there. Yeah, my brother that died. So I used to think like funerals were that you just go there and they're kind of sad and stuff. But my brother, it's funny. Well, it's funny. So there was a shooting. Some guy got shot at an apartment he was living. It's kind of funny because he came out of the building. He ran out of the building, and he was the kind of guy that he always wore a big revolver on the side. And so he ran out of this building. All these cops were out there pointing their weapons at him. But anyway, that's the guy that got shot. They gave him a wake, and that's the first time I heard of throwing a party for somebody who died. They talked about putting a whiskey bottle in his casket and stuff. So that was a new thing for me when I was a kid.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like a bad way to be sent off.
Yeah.
My mother wants a party. She doesn't want a wake. She wants a party.
A party on the day.
In the U.S., if you want the body donated to science or something like that, really the only way you can make sure that's going to stick after you die is to get a lawyer to write up paperwork for it.
Mr. Shadow Kitty said, I want someone to say at my eulogy, he was never a good composer, but now he can be a great decomposer.
Yeah.
I know that joke.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I noticed, Wonder, that you and I we watch a lot of the same comedians from like overseas and stuff. Some of the raw ones. So that was just an observation. I'm done. Please continue.
Well, it's good to know that, because I always feel like I'm skirting the edge of weirdness to the point where people can't find commonality with me. I'm a bit particular and strange. I hear constantly. And I would have been here earlier, but I did have a appointment over the phone. I had therapy.
Oh, I had an appointment over the phone too.
Yeah.
You had therapy? Oh, like
I had actual mental health therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I try to keep up with that. I mean, I know people are kind of sick of me saying, "Oh, what you really need in your life is a therapist." But I'm not kidding. And I'm not saying, "Oh, well, you're dysfunctional." No, I look at it as mental health hygiene.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because someone's broken, but I think it's good to have maintenance. It's like brushing your teeth.
I watched Walking with Kevin Nealon he was from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And he interviews like Hollywood stars and stuff, and a lot of them I've heard him say that everybody should have a therapist. It's just
yeah.
Seems like everybody there has them, and a lot of them seem to like it.
Well, I don't see the problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people have like weird ideas about the stigma of mental health and things like that. And my point of view is, what stigma? Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with talking to someone about your different mindsets. And don't you want to know if you have to work on something in order to maintain a healthy way of dealing with your life?
Stigma's religious word from stabby stab.
Stigmata.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like you're marked.
We've been, yeah. Poisons everything, even therapy.
Oh, that reminds me. I watched a YouTube channel last night and they were talking about deconversion and blah, 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 blah. And I don't think people realize, like, I'm not into the thought police idea.
Aw.
Like, if you have a thought that's not healthy or whatever, that's for your therapist to deal with, not for me to deal with. And if you're cool with it and it doesn't affect your life, okay, fine. But for the most part, I am very much against the idea that religion is not harmful, because I
Mhm.
think of it as a
Mhm.
harmful thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
And anyone who says, well, it's not really, this part isn't harmful or that part isn't harmful, I look at the whole thing as not okay. And just, do you mind if I rant?
Go
Rant.
right ahead.
We love rants. The Frey rants.
Okay.
They are wonderful.
Here's the problem with religion. One, most religions take money from people.
Mhm.
And the thing is, what bothers me is a lot of people who go to churches are vulnerable people. Either they are going through something, they're old, they might be sick, they might be emotionally underdeveloped and really need a therapist. They may have all these other issues that you don't even know about, or this might be their only conduit to a social group. However, don't take their money. I mean, if religion wasn't harmful, they wouldn't take their money. You know what I mean? It would be like an outreach program, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's
Yeah.
terrible. These institutions don't pay taxes. These institutions teach things like battle of the sexes. Oh, men, you have to raise up your women right, and women, you have to behave like this, and you have to do that, and don't show shoulder. And if your parents aren't married, like the next, what, 8 to 10 generations of your family go automatically to hell, whether they're good people or not. So if you think you're going to hell anyway, why would you be a good person or even try to be a good person? And I think if
Yep.
you're going to be a healthy person, you don't need a God in order to be a good person, because you're just trying to, you know, evolution, things like that. We're social animals. We don't need that kind of guidance
Yeah.
in our life to be good people. Where do you get your morals from? From my parents, from the society I live in, from every authority figure that I am put in, like, in danger
Yeah.
of, like every
Actually,
teacher, every
And,
person like that. We don't
and history,
need,
maybe.
yeah, we don't need this institution to say, oh, well, if you touch elbows with this type of person, you are going to hell, all this other stuff. And all these religions, even Jainists, like, they don't harm any living thing, but the thing is, they do harm to themselves and their lifestyles, and they are afraid to breathe, they're afraid to walk, they're afraid to do all this other stuff because they might step on an ant. I mean, like, I don't look at that as healthy. Any
yeah.
dogmatic system where you have an artificial blah 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 is not good for community. If you want to be a good person in a community, you don't need a god. What you need is a sense of personal responsibility, and you don't get that from religion, period. So it's not healthy. Get on with your lives.
Well, no, actually, what you were saying in there is, exactly what happened to me growing up. That by the time I was 8 years old, the Catholic Church had convinced me I was already going to hell, and there was nothing that could be done about it.
Oh, well, you are
So,
going to hell, though.
yeah, there
You are.
was no reason for me to behave, and that's why I never developed any ethics until I threw the Bible out.
Yeah.
And one other thing. I used to work at a bookstore for many years, and
Awesome.
I can't tell you how many times someone would come in and I need a book on angels. I need a book on angel art because they are planning on putting thousands of dollars into like some sort of memorial for a child who died or someone who died,
Mhm.
and they're broken. And I don't think that any religion really gives you any way to kind of complete the cycle of grief that you need to go through.
Yeah.
Because if you think your loved one is missing you and separated from you, and you're separated from them, and they're constantly watching you, how can you take a shit in privacy anymore?
Yeah. Well, and that really was, what remnants I had of religion left really was when my fiance died, that everybody trying to reassure me with these things of you'll see her again in heaven and that. And it's like that all rang so hollow. That was no comfort at all.
Mm-mm. No, no. You know, as you know, I'm like third generation atheist, but my grandmother worked for a church, and when my grandfather died, he came over and had us all hold hands while he did his prayer. And I'm sitting there like looking at my mom, and she's looking at me, and then afterwards we're like, well, that was uncomfortable. My grandmother's like, they mean well.
Yeah.
But what do you do? We had to deal with a lot of empty platitudes from people who knew us, who were, oh, he's in a better place. Well, I agree he's out of pain. I agree he is now out of pain forever because he's dead. But better place? Like he's not hang gliding anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So there. Thus concludes the rant.
Pretty much, yeah.
Until next time.
I really hate though when people are like, it's not harmful. Okay.
Well, I have to say there are an awful lot of aspects about it I didn't really think about, until I was having, conversations with a lot of atheists. So there's a lot of aspects of it that, yeah, it didn't really occur to me how they were harming people, but there's definitely a lot of it there.
Even if a person can afford the tithe at the church, um, what do you call it? There is no reason to give those people money.
Yeah, I have a rule. When I give money, I want to see the person that gets it. I don't want it to go through somebody else.
Yeah. Well, and it really pissed me off when there was the fire at Notre Dame and the Catholic Church, raised like $4 billion in a week to repair it. And it's like, what do they need to be taking donations for?
Yeah, that would upset me.
There were so many other charities that people could have been giving that money to that would have actually done something rather than just fix a church that the Catholic Church had the money to fix on their own.
Right. Well, I mean, I am very fond of old buildings and old architecture, but not to the point where I would deny someone food
Yeah.
or an education in order to have a thing.
Yeah. Well,
You
no,
know?
and, I can understand preserving the buildings because there's history associated with them and that,
Hmm.
but yeah, why they have to be, asking people who are struggling to get by for money for that is,
Because they can.
yeah. Yeah, because they've gotten away with it for centuries.
Legalized scam. Legalized snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Well, if I had it my way, like I always say, if I ever win the lottery or get an inheritance, which I'm not going to get because my family's poor, etc., etc., if I ever get my hands on some money,
Yep.
I'll do my best to make a positive change in the world rather than hoard it. As I've done the math, I know how much I would like to make in order to be comfortable for the rest of my life, and it's not very much money, but it is more than I've got now. But like, I try not to take money from people at exorbitant rates. I work for myself. I don't
Yep.
charge a lot for what I do. I could, but I'm not going to get it from the people that I work for.
Mm.
And because I don't charge a lot, I am able to help more people, but I'm also able to pay my bills. So I'm just skirting by most of the time, but which is why I'm really mad about having to repair my car this week. You have no idea
Yeah.
how mad I am. I don't
No, I
need
know
help
what you
with
mean.
it. I don't need help with it, but I am going to have to dip into my I'm trying to save money to buy a dryer. There's several things I need in my home. One is a ceiling fan, the other one is I need a new stove, and the other one is I need a dryer. And I
Yep.
have like a little savings for that. And with COVID and things like that, I haven't wanted to dip into it. I've been doing my best not to dip into anything. And I'm not going to get a dryer. I'm going to get my brake caliper fixed instead. I'll just have to start over. And that's fine too. If that's the only hardship I have in my life, I'm doing pretty damn good, don't you think?
Yep. Yeah, it's generally where I've been at is just getting by month to month my whole life. So
I get it. I get it. But, I am I have been working on the kids' books that I've been writing.
mhm.
I'm going to do a picture book for
Oh,
adults.
nice.
So
Pictures. I like pictures.
a picture book for adults.
Pop outs.
And it's going to be, I have to admit, a little obnoxious.
Nice.
It's basically going to be a Fey rant, but drawn. So whether or not it's any good, I was talking to my sister about it. She goes, "Well, how much are you going to charge for it?" And I said, "I'm thinking either $1.99 or $3.99." And she's like, "$3.99 is okay." And I'm thinking $1.99 would be enough.
Well, are you talking a physical book?
I'm talking about an ebook.
Okay.
Okay.
Because if I have it printed, I'd still want it to be super cheap.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to do something that cheap for whatever. But if people want to print out the pages, they can. I'm not going to be weird about it.
Mm.
So I would rather have someone get it and laugh and enjoy it rather than not. But I'll have a free version out too. So if someone decides they want to help me out and buy it, they can. If they want it for themselves, they can. I'm not going to be weird about it.
So
Oh
many
yeah,
Fey
Faye.
rants. So many
What?
books.
You had read that book, Go the Fuck to Sleep,
Yeah.
and did you see there's a video around on YouTube now of Samuel L. Jackson
Oh
that
yeah,
it
that's been out for like years though,
yeah,
hasn't it?
but no, but there he's done a new version of it. It's the same story, it's the same rhythm and everything, but it's stay the fuck at home.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, did you see the Daily Show thing where they put on like a glowy paint thing on someone's hands and had them at a
Yes,
buffet and everything was covered in paint at the end?
Yep. Yeah, I've seen things like that done in the past too. That
Mhm.
the phosphorescent powder just to show how germs spread.
Mhm. And people wonder why I'm always so freaky about things. Wash that. No, don't just rinse your hands. Wash them.
For the fab, we have to wear masks, and they have a video that they show us of Alfred Hitchcock speaking, and they show all his saliva and spit coming out when he talks. And that was to show us that's why we need to have face masks so we don't spit all over the silicon wafers and destroy all the circuits.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good idea also to be wearing an eye covering for those people who aren't wearing masks. Like I saw someone the other day, they had their mask on but they had their nose out, and it reminded me of that meme where it was like someone had their pants on but their dick was still hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
saw
it's
that.
like the same thing.
Yeah, I also saw a picture once somebody put on Twitter that because they were required to wear a mask, somebody cut a hole out in the center of it.
We had an idea yesterday at work. There, like if you take, so there's a guy at work that's making, his wife's making masks for people because some of the masks that they gave us that weren't fitting very good or
Mhm.
people didn't like them. But we had an idea of if you took like men's underwear and you made a mask out of it with a little hole, and you could like use a straw to drink out of it, put it back. We were pretty happy about that idea.
Yeah, Sloth Girl has been
that would save
making
names
up the
on it.
masks. Sloth Girl's made like over 400 masks now.
Wow, that's a lot of masks.
Yeah, that she's been giving out to a lot of people, and the bulk of them, like over 300 of them, we sent to my sister because she works in a care facility in that small town we came from. Because they've got no budget, they can't get any supplies there. But so far they're doing good. That there haven't been any reported cases in that county.
I think they've had 3 here.
Yeah, the state of Michigan overall is doing really bad.
30. We had 8 in my town, and now we have 30 in my town, and there's really not that many people here, so that's a good chunk of percentage of my population.
Yeah, they're showing a lot of reported cases around here, but I'm also wondering if the results aren't a bit skewed, just because of the numbers of hospitals we have here, and that we're even getting people from Wisconsin that are being shipped to hospitals over here.
Right. Well,
So I'm not quite sure how much that plays in the statistics. That I think it's making our numbers look a bit higher than what they actually would be.
Well, you have to remember one thing too. People who are dying at home, who haven't been to the doctor, they're not being counted at all.
Well, and that varies state to state. That different states are counting them in different ways.
They have a financial, incentive to count them. But people who die at home without being seen by a doctor or being hospitalized are not being counted as a COVID victim. So the state can't make money on them. Because I think New York gets 22,000 per death.
I had read that from Minnesota, that people, when they were turning up at the morgue, that if they were showing, I'm not sure how they were screening them, but at the morgue that they were screening for the COVID. And that anybody who had COVID and died of anything respiratory related was being counted, regardless of if they were from a hospital or not.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. COVID isn't just respiratory.
No.
It's causing blood clots.
Yeah,
it's causing strokes. It's causing heart attacks.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least in that way they were. Yeah, in that way at least they were counting some people who hadn't gone to a hospital for it.
Oh yeah. The thing is, what bothers me is people are talking about plasma transfusions and all this other stuff, and I could see part of the like someone who has COVID getting plasma from someone who had COVID. Really don't think it's that big of a deal, but I'm concerned because people are like, oh well, now they're immune. That's not
Yeah.
necessarily the case that they're
Yep.
immune, because people who have had it can recatch it. It's kind of like the common cold. The
Yeah.
body can forget things. That's why a vaccine is so important, because also you would also have an idea of when you need to get that vax again.
Yep.
It might be a thing where we need to get vaxxed for this every year or every 6 months. We don't know if it's going to be something that they can predict
Yeah.
or how effective it can be, or et cetera, et cetera. Viruses evolve.
Yes.
And
Spooky
the
posted a
whole,
link in the side chat for the stay the fuck at home read.
That's what I'm watching right now.
oh, that's awesome. I can't really watch it right now, so I have to do it later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
I just don't see how anyone can sit there and go, well, it's going to go away in the summer because X, Y, and Z. I've had summer colds. I don't know about you.
Yep. Well, I had pneumonia in the summer. That was when I was working computers, because they would keep the computer room at around 64 degrees. So every day I was stepping out from 64 degrees into 90 something. And that sudden transition every day for a couple of weeks completely broke my resistance.
Oh, that's good stuff. Did I laugh inappropriately at any point?
No.
No, you're okay.
Well, but if you want, I'll talk about something like tragic, and then you can keep
Yeah.
giggling. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
Yeah.
It would fit with my motif.
Yeah,
Sure. When I had surgery on my toe, I was awake the whole time.
yeah. Doorknobhead Doc Fearson's asking about your Discord or some way he can DM you.
Atheist Refuge is my home Discord. Can I put a link there? Or I do that, or is that naughty?
Oh no, you can drop a link in the side chat if you want. It's no problem.
I don't know if the owner would like that. Spooky can help him.
Oh, okay.
Spooky can help everybody.
Yeah,
Spooky
Spooky's
is wonderful.
on all the links there today.
That was a good one.
But yeah, I mean, it one thing or the other, blah blah blah. Things happen, and things can get kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
and like
mean,
you were saying about, that your system can forget certain viruses. I had the vaccine and I still got chickenpox twice. So the doctors have told me that, yeah, there's a good chance I could get it again because my system just won't remember it.
yeah, like how many times have I gotten a tetanus shot? Because
Four.
every some odd years you need another tetanus shot because your body forgets it.
Yep.
It's not a one-time thing and you're done.
Yeah, well, that's like you say, most of the vaccines, you're supposed to get boosters every few years for them.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
I mean, they all have their different reasons
Well-
and blah blah blah. You have live vaccines, you have dead vaccines, you have all
Yeah.
kinds of different vaccines and for different things. And some people just seem to think that this is like, it's like, oh, I've got COVID once, I can't get it again. Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
chickenpox. Let's talk about shingles.
Well,
Let's talk about all kinds of other things.
Everybody's in such a rush to get things back to normal, and it's like they're saying a vaccine is still like a year away. They don't have any effective way to treat this. Getting back to normal is just being reckless.
Yep. And now we have that whole Kawasaki thing going on with small children who have COVID, who are showing signs of Kawasaki's disease, which is major. It's also a lifelong condition. But they're like, well, it's like Kawasaki's, but it's also COVID like. And it's like, yeah, they have COVID or they have COVID antibodies, which means they've had it for a long time and their bodies are trying to fight it, but they're still coming down with this inflammatory disease. And some as young as 4 have died.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, some states are completely reopened, and these people seem to think, oh, that means that the danger's over. Hi, give me a hug. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
have a mask. Oh, yeah, let's go back to shaking hands and let's go back to the dentist where the whole office is full of spit. Yay!
Yeah, that's the part that worries me, is that as soon as they start relaxing things, people think that everything's over. It's all fixed now.
But just because you're allowed to do something doesn't mean you should.
Well, and that's like, I normally have a gaming convention in October. I'm not making reservations for it because I don't think it's going to be safe to go. 6 months from now, I'm going to be worried about going out.
Exactly. But what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah.
But, it's like you can do different things with your life and try to figure out the right things. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, it's not time for that. Cuomo's talking about the steps that are going to be necessary to open up the New York. And it's like, dude, no, don't open up New York.
Well, he at least seems to be showing some restraint for it, compared to what some of the other states are doing.
Oh, good news. Guess what I got in the mail today?
A stuffed tyrannosaur.
Here's a hint.
It's a book.
Uh-huh.
It is a book. I'm a good guesser.
The Victorian Book of the Dead.
Oh, nice.
It's got a beautiful cover.
So it's all pictures then?
No, not at all. It's all writing.
You said it's a picture book of the dead, right?
No, it's got a beautiful cover. The picture on the cover is beautiful.
Was there anything about a book of the dead in there? Did I just hear that?
The Victorian Book of the Dead.
Okay. But, okay, no dead. Oh, dead people. Okay, you don't see dead people. Okay.
Yeah. Like, okay, let me just...
Because you know what books I'm talking about, where they show when people die, they used to take pictures of them right after they were dead.
Yeah.
Capture their soul or whatever.
Okay, here's an example from page 148, okay? Corpse sat up on a cooling board, and one of the watchers fell over dead from the terrible fright. Joplin, February 25th. Word was received in the city today of the death that Miss Mary Garling from fright at Gartum as the result of sitting up with the corpse of a friend. An undertaker, in order to get the body of Thomas Sharon, a cripple of that place, straightened out sufficiently to get it into a casket, laid it out on a cooling board with ropes tied to nails driven into the floor. Sharon had died of rheumatism and was so stooped in life that when he walked, his hands touched the ground. Okay. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Neighbors were sitting up with the corpse during the night, among them being Mrs. Garling. And when one of the watchers stumbled over the rope that passed across the body of the corpse, the rope broke and the corpse sat up, facing Mary Garling. The watchers fled from the room, except the Garling woman, who uttered a shriek and fell onto the floor in a dead swoon, literally. When the watchers returned, they found the corpse in a sitting position, its glassy eyes wide open, while Garling lay on the floor unconscious. She died in a short time. Basically, like different weird, strange deaths from the Victorian era.
Yeah. Sounds like an interesting read.
Unusual burial. In 1907, a brick composed of 5 parts cement and 1 part of the ashes of a cremated body of a suicide was buried in Hand Cemetery, West Roxbury. Pressed into the face of the brick is the epitaph: died May 30th, 1907. Herman Unger, leave me in peace.
Beautiful.
I think so. Just like all different cute little things like that. And a bomb body utilized as an advertisement, a speaking tube that seemed to be make the dead talk, a spinster who thought that a pale gentleman was making love to her. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting, lovely book. And the bibliography is wonderful, which means those are more sources
You're
for
gonna
more
read all,
entertainment.
you're gonna read the book on your channel, the whole thing.
Some of it.
Some of it, nice.
Yeah. I'll have to wear my glasses when I do it because I have a bad eye condition. So, but wow, it looks great. Pictures on the coffin lid, killed by lightning.
Excellent.
A hearse driver meets the death at the side of a grave.
Wonderful.
Girls who make good wages are contented in an undertaker's shop. Okay.
Contented? What's
Contented.
that code? What's that code for? Contented?
I don't know. We'll find out.
I don't know. Stay tuned.
Wow. So yeah, there's just Kentucky man to be buried in a tank of old bourbon.
I've heard of people being pickled by it before, but
Oh yeah. It's great stuff. Oh, another one took poison for fun. Red Devil went crazy and died.
You know, they say you can deep fry anything and it tastes good. I guess you could deep fry a corpse, like everybody could eat it, right?
I guess so.
But that'd be good.
I mean, we do it with all sorts of other meat. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Just fun little things, you know, just fun little stories.
Birdies.
Okay, does anyone remember that book, 101 Uses for a Dead Cat?
Yes, I didn't like it that much, but...
The online thing?
No, it was an actual paper book at one time, but
maybe I saw that.
They had also done a sequel to it, The Cat's Revenge, 101 Uses for a Dead Human.
Oh, I'd like that one better. Yeah, we sold that book at my bookstore, by the way. A cartoon book. Yep. I was very fond of the bunny suicides, if anyone remembers.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. Bunny Suicides is what I was thinking of. Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
There's several bunny suicide books. So if you go to Google and just put in bunny suicides and do images, you can kind of get the idea of some of the panels in the books. The books are very good. And yeah.
The Book of Bunny Suicides by Andy Riley.
And then they have the Return of the Bunny Suicides, and different creative ways that bunnies have, these cartoon bunnies have killed themselves. One was ordering the Goblet of Fire, by the way, commit suicide by Amazon.
Yep. Yeah, there was a.
They ordered the book and then they hung out under the mail slot. So when the book came, because it was big and thick, it killed the bunny.
Yeah, just on the dozen sample images it's pulling up, I remember that I have seen some of these.
Yeah, they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. The spaghetti strainer one is quite disturbing.
Well, one of them, it's got one shaving his head off with a cheese grater.
Yes, and there's another one where he sits on a stool between a magnet store and a knife store.
Oh, oh God.
Yeah, because the Electromagnets Are Us is opening Monday, and across the store is World of Knives.
Mhm.
And the bunny's in the middle of the street sitting on a stool waiting for Monday.
Here's one of the bunnies sitting against the wall, holding a nail to his head.
Uh-huh.
And above him on the wall, it has a rope going to a hammer in a huge block of ice with the sun shining on it.
Yes. Yes. And now you know my sense of humor.
Oh, I had a pretty good idea before. Hi, Sammy. What's up?
I'll be back.
Okay.
Oh,
Unless you want to hear a P mic.
Nah,
I didn't think so.
I'll skip this
Oh,
time.
all right.
oh, Sammy is disappointed because I made him go around the keyboard.
So I hope you I hope everyone, if you need a laugh, can like look that stuff up and enjoy it. If it's not your thing, I get it, but always looking for another reason to have a giggle. Personally. What?
Nerdy, I was going to type bunny suicides, but bondage cross came up as soon as I pressed the B.
Aww.
I take it that was left over in his search from the earlier conversation we had.
Probably, yeah. Although, I have been most of this. I've been looking at a scratch and dent place for dryers and stoves and things.
Yep. And that tends to be the kind of places I shop at too. You can find some with some cosmetic blemishes that don't really affect anything that you can get for a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah. Well, it kind of bothers me because it's like some of the places, they're like, "Oh, well, it's we're going to put up our most expensive stuff first." And it's like, "Please don't."
Yep.
I mean, I don't really care about having a stove, but kind of have to. But I don't like the oven. Oh my.
Sorry.
Somebody's pressing 1. Press the 1. Do the 1. Press the 1. Hello?
I don't think he is going to.
No, yeah, that's... They finally got my prescription in, but it's taken them so long to get the prescription done that my medical insurance has run out, so I can no longer pay for it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And
Does
I
it
don't know
matter that
why
I
they're...
found a oven for sale for $430?
No, that's good. But unfortunately, can you get it now that you got to deal with your car?
No.
Yeah.
It'll have to wait.
Well, I hope you can still find that kind of price on it when you get the money there.
It's a scratch and dent. I look at this stuff like once a week. And slowly, eventually, I'll get everything I need. It doesn't matter if I have a working oven right now. It just doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my calories are coming from liquids anyway.
Can't just put some sticks in there and start a fire?
Nah, I don't think the landlady would be happy.
She doesn't have to know.
I think she'll find out. No, but you do what you have to, you do what you can. Right now, I'm doing what I can.
Yep.
And once things get restarted, if they get restarted anytime soon, I'll go back to my usual routine, which will be nice. Be so nice to have my routine back. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I'm basically looking at it that right now I figure we probably have about a month of a lull here before the cases start shooting up again because they've relaxed things.
Oh, if they relax things in New York, it's gonna go through the roof immediately. You know that.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that's I'm just kind of stocking up with the idea that yeah, I'm probably not going to leave the house for a month. Just because that's probably about how long it'll take them to get things back to where they are today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yeah, I can see that.
What are you doing over there?
I hear doggy feet.
Doggy feet.
I
Oh,
hear
okay.
doggy feet.
Okay, that's a dog.
Is it too loud?
No,
No, I just couldn't quite figure out what was going on there.
doggy feet.
Doggy feet.
That's the pitter patter of happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I was able to have a dog.
I think they're sweet because they you can hear their little dances.
Oh, I love dogs. It just, I feel it's unfair to have one in an apartment if you don't have a yard for them to run around in. It just isn't right.
Well, if I got a small dog, it would be okay, but I don't have the environment for a small dog.
Yeah. Well, small dogs tend to be yappy, and I'm always
Nah.
figuring I'm going to trip on them. So it's like, yeah, I think to me a proper dog is one that comes at least up to my knee, but not above my hip.
Oh.
So, generally like the sled dog varieties, those are the ones I like.
The weenie or the regular knee?
No, the sled dog varieties, the ones that get to be like, between 70 and 100 pounds.
Pretty big.
The Huskies, Malamutes, Samoyeds, any of those. That's the kind of dog I'd have if I had a choice.
Oh, not here.
Yeah, I'd rather have a small dog. Someone can sit on my lap.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a big dog could too, but
Yeah.
My mom has a small dog. They're not necessarily yappy. All depends on how you raise them, really.
we had schnauzers and they were very yappy.
Yeah, my sister had beagles and damn things would never shut up.
Oh, I know a beagle I don't particularly like. He's got neurotic issues. He was raised in a kennel type thing for
Daisy Hill Puppy Farm.
professional breeder, and he needs to be fixed. So he's a bit of an ass.
The dog or the breeder?
The dog, because the dog seems to have emotional issues.
Yeah.
And
That's the one.
needs to be fixed, and hasn't been fixed, and I think that's a problem. Because he's very
That's not
much
it.
into scent marking,
There it is.
and I'm sitting there going, if you fixed him, but the breeder, when they sold it to my friend, said no fixing, just in case we need his genetics, and I'm going, that's ridiculous. It's your dog now.
Yeah.
If you want to fix him, you should be able to fix him. What is this bullshit?
Well, and I think that they have, egg and sperm banks for that kind of thing too. If you want to preserve the genetic material, but you don't really want the animal breeding.
I say just fix him.
Yep.
Let him adjust emotionally, and he'll be fine. But
Well,
right now, he's just a scent marking asshole.
Yeah, personally, I just the whole idea of purebred animals kind of offends me. Because it's like they're that way because they have intentionally restricted the gene pool and interbred them.
Oh yeah. I can
And it's
understand
like, why do we value in pets something that's illegal among humans?
that. Ooh. I found a steam sanitizing dryer.
UV light?
No, steam.
Oh, steam.
Mm-hmm. What is your opinion on UV light sterilization, by the way?
I have no opinion.
It doesn't work well in the blood.
No, it doesn't work well in the blood at all.
I said that once, and I thought I was making it up, and then someone said, "Oh, there are UV dryers." What?
Yeah, I have heard of them.
Oh, I thought I made it up.
Oh, I used to do the steam thing just in a regular dryer, basically just like, throw a damp towel in there, fluff stuff.
How does the steaming work? Did you like show Rush Limbaugh or that other monkey videotapes in there? The videotapes. That's how old I am. Cassette tapes. 8 tracks.
I had an 8-track player at one time.
We had a bunch of 8-track tapes, but I think that was a little bit before me. We had an 8-track player, but it wasn't. I think my brother's truck had one. Old International Harvester. Did they make trucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was one of those.
Actually, International Harvester made quite a few vehicles that people aren't aware of. They arguably made SUVs before the term SUV ever existed. Because basically they made something that was like a tall station wagon with 4-wheel drive called the Travel All. Otter Pop.
Oh, I want this dryer so badly. Ooh.
How much?
It's out of my price range.
1,500?
No.
2,500? 3,600? 7,200?
No. It's $529.
No.
But it's basically half off. It's normally $999.99. But holidays are a good time to buy appliances, whether it's a computer or whatever. So I'm planning for like Thanksgiving to replace mine. So I have plenty of time to save up, and hopefully it'll be on sale again. And that's fine.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, in the fall there, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the appliances tend to get cheap because everybody's spending their money on Christmas presents then, and they're not selling very many of them.
Right. And they're also need to make room for the new appliances.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm the type of if it's not on sale, I don't want it. I'm terrible, which is why I'm having problems with my calipers for my car, because it's like is it on sale? I'm so
No,
cheap. I'm so cheap.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'll put off buying something for over a year before I'll pay full price for it.
Exactly. It's like, but it's not on sale. I don't want it
Hey,
if it's
darn.
not on sale. Everyone's finding out just how much of a terrible person I am.
Just now finding out.
That I'm a cheapskate, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, especially if you don't have that much money coming in, you've got to.
Oh, honey, I could be a millionaire and I know me, I'd still be clipping coupons. You know?
Yep.
I don't like the idea of like I know that a lot of things are not the price that they charge for it. You know, there's a certain amount of markup, and I know the reason for that, but I also think that they pay people in high positions way too much money, and they could do a lot to reduce the prices and
Oh yeah.
give the common person a break and things like that. And it's absolutely ass water.
Ass water.
Yes,
That's a beautiful turn of phrase.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I like to think of it as a kenning.
A kinning.
A kenning, yeah. Like the Anglo-Saxons would call the ocean a whale pool. That's a kenning.
Nice.
Hmm.
How big is that Book of the Dead, Dealy Bobber?
Oh, it's not very big at
it's not?
all. Nope. It was actually kind of cheap too, which is one of the reasons why I bought it. And believe it or not, it was not on sale. It was $20.
I keep forgetting I can do this.
But I haven't bought a book in so long that wasn't an ebook or an audiobook, because my sister will buy the audiobooks, so I always have something to listen to. And we talk about them, so it's a social thing as well. Oh, Angry Bird. Hello, Angry Bird. I see your face. But this was too compelling not to get.
Yep.
So I kind of wanted to get something to, I guess, lift the spirits in a weird way.
Yeah.
I've been wondering if there are any kind of, earbuds or headphones. I hear a lot about noise reduction ones, but are there any that would be effective against my power tools so I could actually listen to audiobooks while I'm running power tools?
I think so, because I have several sets of headphones that are noise canceling, and I listen to music and things like that when I'm working. And I think a vacuum cleaner counts, right?
A vacuum cleaner is kind of on the low end compared to what the power saws get up to.
I think mine are pretty loud.
Yeah, I'm dealing with stuff in the 90 to 120 decibel range.
Okay.
And just most of the earphones and earbuds I've seen are only effective up to about 25 or 30 decibels.
Mine are pretty effective, and I had.
Okay, well, if you've got a good brand that you can recommend.
Okay.
Is it Bose or Boss? How do you say that? Bose? I don't know how to say that. Europeans probably say it totally different too.
Yeah, well, I think it's Bose on the commercials.
Bose. Bose knows.
Oh, there's
Oh, he's moist now. It's a moist Angry Bird. Yeah.
I do need to get a new floor drying fan for when I start house cleaning again.
Fleur, it's a brand.
You have a
No.
problem with soggy floors?
Won't let your floors flare because you'd fail. That doesn't work. That didn't work. I wanted to say flail, but I said fail, which was a fail. Hey, it's a circle. So you don't have any bookstores in a walking distance? Faye, are you there? Hello. She's
Yeah,
gone.
we seem to have lost Faye. She stopped talking.
Oh.
Oh,
she-
okay, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought maybe your connection had dropped.
No, I needed to plug in. I have a cordless
Your
headset.
floor.
Okay.
Floor.
Floor.
Mhm.
Floor.
Well,
And it's
actually,
it's
we've
a
been
what?
going more than 2.5 hours.
Oh wow!
I was thinking I should probably wrap this up soon.
Wrap it up. Ship it out.
A floor drying fan.
Drying fan. Okay.
hmm
What is different about them as opposed to any, regular fan?
Looks fancy.
It looks fancy. I'll give you a link on the side, and you can tell me what you think about it.
X Power Multi P.
Mhm.
Check it out.
You can really focus the direction very, very usefully. And it takes
Okay.
much less time to finish a house rather than waiting for evaporation to occur.
Right.
Got that Fisher Price look to it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean about these blowers. I just hadn't heard that term for them.
What? Floor drying fan?
Yeah.
Oh, floor. FOLOOR.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you were saying with a U in there someplace.
Flour?
Yeah, I
Floor.
was also thinking it was with a U there.
It's my accent. I'm sorry.
Okay. But they don't make them in purple or in orange, so it's pointless.
I think they do in other brands, but they might be more money.
Yeah.
I usually go for the cheapest thing I can find. And then I watch it until it's on sale, and then I'll get it because I'm very cheap. I'm watching so many different products, and I visit them once a week to see if they're on sale. So that's you're learning.
Yeah,
things
I
about me.
usually, chicken out on even spending that much on them, and I usually find some way I can build one out of things I salvaged.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with electricity.
Yeah.
I really don't. I just want a really good fan because if some of the ones that it's very humid on the East Coast, it's very hard to dry a floor
Mhm.
in the summertime, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually built a larger version of something to that effect with the blower I salvaged out of a scrapped furnace.
There's every fucking summer. It's so lucky that I don't carry money with me when I, extra money when I go to places, because I'll go to Tractor Supply and they have these huge drum fans for barns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I want one so badly. And if I had the money, as cheap as I am, I know I'd be hauling that thing home because that would make my life so much easier. But I
You'd
don't.
go in
I
there,
don't
turn it
buy
on,
it.
you'd blow out all the windows.
But it would be nice to have. I'd have that thing in my home. Are you kidding? Oh, who needs air conditioning when you have a giant fan? Seriously, I love the idea. But anyway, you said you were going to shut things down, Perp?
Yeah. I should get something to eat and try to get something done while there's still a couple hours here that I can make phone calls before everybody leaves.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me on.
Well, I'm glad that we got to get you in here. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to talk to you too.
Yep.
And I'm sorry about the whole like, you'll have to wait for me.
No, that's fine. So, does anybody have anything they need to plug before we go?
Not really. Working on things for my channel, but I'm also writing books and trying to draw for them.
Fun.
Plus
Oh,
working
you
on
draw
another
too. Oh
project.
yeah, because you're not. Yeah, you're a drawer. That's right.
Not a
Awesome
very good
drawer.
one though.
Oh,
Thank you.
better than I could do in like 10,000 years.
Well, as long as people get the spirit of the thing, not good enough to be, professional at it, but
Mm.
I think I'm decent enough for people to recognize the thing that I'm trying to make. So a thing's a thing.
Okay, well, I of course will be back again tomorrow at midnight.
Mhm.
And then also, I'm co-hosting on Black Sofa's channel the isolation chats, which
is
are
awesome.
Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So here's a link to Black Sofa's channel, and that usually winds up being Black Sofa and me and Milking Stool and Scientist Mel has been in there most of the time.
Which is awesome. She's very funny.
Yep. Yeah, it's the first time I've really had a chance to do anything interactive with her.
I have a high opinion of Mel. So.
Oh yeah, she's incredibly smart.
And she's funny. She's
You
genuinely funny.
Yep.
She's not just smart. She's actually got a personality and she's charming, which is absolutely great because there are some people who are smart and they talk and you just want to shove a fork into your ears because they're boring as fuck. Some. I'm not saying all.
Yeah.
But
years.
And
Mel
Mel
is
does
fun.
not let anybody get to her. She's always able to turn it around on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's not unrealistic either about life and stuff, so she's got a good, healthy attitude.
Those machines outside are working now, and the whole house is shaking. It's
But
really
I don't
it's
hear
weird.
it.
I was wondering if you guys could see it sometimes.
Oh,
Now,
I've been watching.
I want a toy like that. One of my goals in life is to one day own a vehicle that's got tracks.
I want a tractor. I want one of those sidewalk tractors so badly.
Yep.
That's right. You said that.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my dreams. If I ever get to the point where I get one of those sidewalk tractors, I am going to work all winter. Yay!
That was actually part of my plan for preparing for the zombie apocalypse. Is I've got it sketched out about converting those little bobcat tractors into miniature tanks. Because in an urban environment, they would be much better. Granted, they're not as fast as a car, but they could go a lot of places that a car or a pickup truck could never follow them.
Oh, okay.
We used to play paintball, and some guy had one of those, and he built a cage around it with like plastic or something around it. So it was supposed to be the tank.
Yep.
And it got up really hot in where he built a cab around it for protection, and it made the paintballs come out like twice as fast. Everybody was pretty much actually running for their lives from that thing. It was pretty intense.
That's incredibly interesting. I love that.
Yeah. And that's when I learned out. They'd say, like, in combat and stuff, people are stupid, and like rounds will go past them, and they'll look around and go, "What was that? What was that?" And then I did that in paintball. Like, oh, just whatever.
I've never got to try paintball. That is something I would like to do at some point.
Not me, because I'd turn into a monster.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, you don't want me to turn into a monster.
There would be blood.
There would.
Yes. I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're going to call it here for the day. So thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate
Thank you.
and appreciate all you guys in the side chat there for spending the time with us, and Spooky for posting the links to everything everybody mentioned.
Which is wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, good mods are important, and I don't acknowledge them often enough. So we appreciate you there.
You're
Oh, yeah.
modulus.
So see you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
Bye.